Welcome to Sacred Conversations. I'm Drew, your host. And before we get started, just I want to have you hit the like button down below, share, subscribe, do all the things because I want more people to get this information, share with your friends, family, loved ones. If it's been an inspiration to you, it'll be an inspiration to others. So thank you. Happy New Year. We've gone through the holidays and gone through 2025, and it is now a new year, 2026. And we are going to talk about goal setting, preparation, setting the groundwork for a new year, right? And so let's not hesitate. Let's just get right in it. Let's just talk about it. So I think preparation is important before you can perform, right? Think about people who run races. Think about people who cook, right? You got to do your prep work prior to the performance. If I'm a sprinter, I got to do the practice. I got to do the workouts. I got to challenge other people to see, can I actually hit the goal, right? Or I got to make cakes. I got to get all my spices and my seasonings and ingredients together before I go to make this cake or cook dinner. If I try to do any of those things out of sequence, it could affect the end result. I could come out with a very lumpy cake or one that just sags in the middle because I didn't give it enough time to prep, or I didn't mix the ingredients right, or maybe I forgot to put the eggs in there, or I forgot to put the flour in there. If you don't do things in order, it can become chaos. So it's important for you to have that preparation before you can see the end result or that vision that you've created for yourself. Goals without preparation is frustration. Again, goals without preparation is frustration. So now you didn't set any goals. You decided to do this thing, and now you're frustrated and mad because it didn't turn out the way you expected it to. Whereas if you followed the recipe or you followed the instructions, then you would have got the end result and achieved the goal that you wanted. And so I think that's really what this first part is about, is just making sure you understand why you need to prep and why it matters more than the goal itself. So as we get into the season right now, we start setting goals. We talk about weight loss. We talk about finances. We talk about career goals, all of the things. And it requires you to take inventory on yourself to see, what am I missing? Am I lacking to do to prepare to achieve this goal, right? If I want to be a teacher and I haven't gone to school, I'm not saying you can't be a teacher, but you don't have the qualifications to get you there. If I've never baked a cake before and I just go in and try it, some people have luck, but this could be the one time that you don't. I definitely can't go run track if I've never prepared and paced myself for the race to understand when I need to kick it into full gear to be able to win the race against my opponent. I got to study, and a lot of sports teams study the other players to see your competition and understand what you need to do to beat that competition. So preparation is really important. Part of preparation is not only just being able to see, okay, do I have the things that I need to be able to achieve that goal? but you got to develop a plan. Hey, I need to do this. And then once I do that, I need to do this. And then I got to do point M, I got to do point P, and then I end up at point Z, right? It's very important for you to have that clarity. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. So you have to write it down. It's very key, right? Hey, I want to go to Europe. I want to buy that house. I want a car. Whatever those goals that you have for yourself, write it down. This is what I want. Make it plain. Okay, so I want a car. So you can't just say I want a car, because if I show up and give you um, a brown Pinto, you're gonna be like, "What the hell? That's not what I wanted." Well, guess what? You never told me what you wanted. You didn't tell me that you wanted a Range Rover in black with a sunroof, or you didn't tell me you wanted that red Porsche. You got to be specific. What color? What style? What model, make, what year? Very different if I showed up with a 1970 VW Bug, but you want one from 2012, or maybe something more recent, whatever it is. You got to make it plain. Be specific. What is it? Hey, I want to be a podcaster. I want to be the best barber. Okay. Have I gone to school? Have I cut hair before? I want to be a stylist. Have you put looks together before? You got to start somewhere, right? And if you don't have that, okay, what do I need to do to get that experience? And so you got to do some research. You got to do your research. And then you can come back and say, I want this, I want that, and this is when I want it. And this is when I'm going to achieve those things. Maybe you want to be a doctor. You got to go to school to be a doctor. Although we have some people that do some shenanigans and try to take shortcuts around, but it ended up costing lives, and it ends up costing you lives and money in your life, because you may go to jail depending on what you did wrong. But you gotta figure out, because sometimes it requires preparation. So if I want to be a doctor and I need to go to school to become a doctor or a nurse or whatever that goal is, there may be educational requirements around it. And I need to understand what those requirements are and understand what things do I need to study or what classes I need to take in order to get to that end result. Maybe I want to be a massage therapist and have never given a massage before. Whatever it is, you have to do the preparation for it. Otherwise, you'll be frustrated. All right. Next thing you need to understand is this a realistic goal? If I said that I wanted to be a doctor by the 2027 and I've never gone to school to become a doctor, I get to 2026 December and I think that I'm going to be a doctor, it's not going to happen, because depending on the specialty that you want to be in, it requires you to do some work. You got to be an intern. There's a lot of different things you have to do to get to that end result. And if you're thinking it's going to happen that fast, well, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're setting yourself up for failure. And you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Because again, that's where the frustration comes in. So, realistic goals. The next thing that you want to understand is that preparation, it determines you to be successful and also for that goal to be sustainable. If I decide that I want to buy a house and I just go start trying to put stuff together, but I didn't think about where I wanted the bathroom or the pipes to go in the wall. Like all those things have to be planned out. I got to go find the land. I got to go get a building permit. There's steps that you need to take to get to that end result, and you need to make sure you understand what those steps are. So, this is where you go and you seek out the people that are successful in the field or doing the thing that you want to do. Do your research, go figure that out. Who is doing it best? And I'm going to put my own spin on it depending on what it is that I want to do. But they're the best. What did they do to get there? Okay, I have some idea now around that. Let me go and see what I need to do as far as inventory to make sure that I can achieve this goal. And so those are the things that you need to consider when you're creating this. Now, don't let how they got to the how you get there, because sometimes God can bless you to where you can skip some steps or move people out of your way to get you to that goal, depending on what it is. Right. And so that's why it's important for you to understand and do so that you need to be able to get there. All right. We talked about writing vision, making it plain. I'm going to share something that happened to me maybe 6, 7 years ago. I started this process every year, November and December. I always pray to God and say, God, give me a theme for this year. What is it that you want for me in this next year? And God then reveals that theme to me. And so then this first time that I did this, he gave me that theme. And he told me exactly what he wanted. And so one of the things that I had been wanting to do is travel outside of this country. I had never been out of the country. And so I wanted to go to Europe. And so I've always wanted to go to Italy. I've always wanted to go to France, all these different things, different countries. And so I wrote it down, specific country that I wanted to go to, specific city in that country I wanted to go to. And I listed it. I even put states because there are some states that I still want to go visit or vacations that I want to take. And I wrote those things down. And that particular year, I did all of those things. Matter of fact, the very next day after I set the goal, I was on my way to my friend's house and to celebrate the holidays. And literally, when I got there, they're like, "You won't believe this. We're going to Europe." And I'm like, "Huh?" They're like, "Yeah, we're going to Europe. We saved up all our miles for our flights that I've been taking for work, and we have enough to pay for everybody to go to Europe. All you have to do is worry about your hotel and stuff." Amazing, right? So that's how quick God can answer your prayer if you make it plain. Now, that won't be the result for everyone, but that was my result. Your result may be different. Maybe it will take 2 weeks. Maybe it'll take the whole year or longer. It just depends on what your goal you're setting. But if you make it plain, God knows, or as some people like to say, the universe knows what it is that you're looking for because you were very specific and you made it plain for them to understand. All right, we talked about inventory already, what you need to do. Again, be understanding. Like if I don't possess the skill set, I need to go take a class to learn that. I can't expect to go from not knowing how to do something to being the expert in that field. There's a learning process, and I need to be realistic with myself to understand that. So, self examination on your skill set level to get you there is really important. Um, the other thing that you need to understand is as you're doing that self examination in your inner goals, where am I at emotionally? Where am I at when it comes to burnout? Because there's going to come a day, as you set whatever the goal is, that long term goal maybe, that you're going to experience some type of burnout, right? Maybe you want to become that doctor, you wanted to be a heart surgeon. There's going to come a day where you are in your intern field or residency and you're going to be like, this is the worst day I've had in my life. And I am just still not where I want to be, but I'm tired. You got to prepare yourself for that emotional burnout. Avoid the burnout by creating, I call them emergencies, but creating that emergency bank that you have to be able to say, okay, when I come across this is how I'm going to deal with it. This is how I'm going to get through that. Maybe you lean on your friends. Maybe you create this particular moment for yourself to be able to just have a stress reliever. But you got to anticipate that burnout situation as well. Guard your heart because the enemy will come in like a lion seeking who he may devour. And he will use people in your life to distract you from getting to that end goal. I mean, your goal could be as simple, hey, I don't want to drink drugs for the rest of the year. I don't want to do weed for the rest of the year. And you set that goal, and then next thing you know, people that are in your life find yourself in these situations constantly where they're trying to pressure you and put you in want to be in anymore. And so guard your heart. Make sure you have the right people around you to support you. All right. Understand who you're becoming. What are you going to achieve? Put God first. Pray. Make sure that the goal is rooted in identity that lasts longer than the goal, but rooted and not, I'm sorry. Make sure the goal is rooted in identity and it lasts longer than goals rooted in comparison. I can't focus on the fact that you did it better or I'm trying to compete with you, Jane, John, whoever it may be. No, I'm going to stay in my lane because this lane was created for me. God made me this way. I'm unique in this way. And a lot of times, 100% of what it is your uniqueness. You know, you think about some of these social media influencers that are out there, they just put a unique spin on something. And that's what made them creative or made them popular and on social media. Or maybe I want to be an actor. Well, I'm uniquely gifted in this way when I have this particular type of scene. God gifted me with that. So don't focus on comparing yourself to someone else because or how they even got to the end result because you don't know everyone's story, right? They only share with you the things that they want you to know. But then if you peel back the layers, you may uncover that some people are there by the grace of God. Some people, maybe they did some stuff, some shady stuff to get there, right? You got to check and see where your integrity is to be able to make sure you don't fall in those pitfalls. So, a comparison, don't worry about how the other person got there. If it's what God wants for you, He will make the way, open up the door for you to achieve that goal. Some things that you can do, like if your goal is financial, maybe you need to. There's a lot of people on social media, there's a lot of people on YouTube that are sharing their best practices. Let me go listen to how they did it, right? Jot down some ideas. You know, you take bits and pieces of what other people are doing, and then you make it your own. One pivotal lesson that you need to understand as you go into this new season is that you cannot carry everything into a new season. There are some people, some things that are only meant to sustain you for a season. And you have to understand when those seasons are at the end of that season. or when a new season needs to begin. So maybe these friends over here, we've been thick as thieves and been hanging, and they got my back. But as I go into this new uncharted territory, maybe those people are not supposed to come with me. Maybe they were just there to sustain me in that particular season. Because maybe when I get over here into this goal that I want, there's some different people that are going to link up with me. And because they're now at the level that I want to be at, and maybe these people are not at the same level. And this is not like I'm trying to think that I'm better than anything, but some people are just, they only want you to be where they are, right? You grew up in a certain area and now you see better for yourself, and maybe they only want to kick it on the block all the time. Well, that's not what I want. I'm cool with you. We can hang out and stuff, but this is where I'm going. And I'm not saying I'm too big for you, but I want you to enjoy the things that I enjoy, but I'm also not going to let you stop me from enjoying the things that I enjoy. So you can either come along on this ride, or it's time for you to get off each other in a different way, and hang out with each other in a different way in this new season. So you got to understand when some of those things, it's time to close those out or reprioritize the attention that you give to those things. Also, the last thing, or one of the last things you need to do, is make sure that you let go of guilt. Don't worry about, hey, when I get this, I got to worry about, I don't want them to feel like I left them, or I don't want them to think that I'm not cool anymore. No. If this is what you want, and if this is what God has ordained, this is what needs to happen, right? I love you as my friend. I love you as my girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, it's about what God wants for me, and I want what He wants. And so I want to make sure that when I'm in heaven and God asks me, what did I achieve? And I say, hey, you sent me here to do this, and this is what I did, right? Just to have that discernment and understand what that is. All right. So build that discipline, because that's going to help you build trust within yourself, and you'll start to be able to see the things that you have achieved as you go throughout the year or through life. And Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, do not grow weary in well doing. Sometimes we get the thing that we want and we are like, God, I prayed for this. I don't, I'm glad I got it, but man, this thing, I got to worry about this now, right? Or sometimes you get the thing that you achieved, right? And you're so into that thing that you forgot to thank God for that thing, or you think you achieved it by yourself. And so you just loving the fact of your new status or whatever it is that you achieved as far as that goal. But don't let off the gas pedal. You got to stay prayed up, faithful, guarded with your heart, to make sure that you just keep exercising those same habits or that same discipline that you use to get you there. Preparation teaches you patience, right? Sometimes we want something and we want it yesterday, but it's not something that you'll be able to get right away. It takes time, right? Some of the examples I use, like being a doctor, it's going to take you time to, depending on the type of doctor you want to be. There's schooling involved, right? So you got to understand that. Sometimes it takes patience. Again, you got to know when it's your season. Maybe they're not taking people in that particular field right now, or that have your certain talent. And then all of a sudden, you 2 weeks later, or a month later, it's just a matter of, is this your season or not? So take some time to reflect. Season are you truly in right now? Are you in your winning season? I know that I'm in my winning season, and this is not me just throwing out a spiritual cliche. I know I'm in my winning season right now. What season are you in? What needs do you have to that you need to prepare for? What does clarity look like for you right now? And what is one area where you need to write your vision plainly? You need to write it out. A, B, C, D, step 1, 2, 3, 4, right? What are those things? Write a one-page vision statement identifying 3 preparation actions, not goals, and then just revisit it monthly, not daily, because daily you'll get frustrated. So look at it. Okay, so hey, month 1, I said I was going to do this. Have I achieved it? No. Okay, what do I need to do now to recalibrate myself to get myself there? Right. And so you want to do that. And then 6 months in, all right, how am I doing? Look, I've achieved all these things, or you know what? I've achieved maybe 3 of the 5 things. All right, what do I need to do to build more discipline around myself to be able to go back and finish those things that I didn't do, but then continue to proceed further in meeting my goal? So, accountability is important, reassessment is important, looking at where you are, mentorship is important depending on where you want to go, and if it's career wise or it's skill level set. You need someone to be able to talk to and bounce things off to. um, Find someone, a mentor, a friend that you trust that can be your sounding board, someone who encourages you, and someone who will keep it real, be like, you know what, you said you wanted to do this, and here's what I see where you missed the mark. Not as in a criticism, but hey, you got to get it together. You said you didn't want to drink no more, but you keep going to a bar every Friday night, right? Someone is going to keep it real, right? So those are the things that you need to put in place. So create that vision statement, identify those preparation actions, items, and then revisit it monthly. Put it in the comments. I want to hear and see what some of your goals are. And just remember that faith grows through preparation. As you start to move forward, your faith, the want to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, and your faith in seeing it happen, you will start to rise up and you will start to see, feel better about yourself, right? To yourself, be intentional in your movement in this new year. Don't forget, like and subscribe to this channel. I'm Drew, and I hope that you have the best 2026 ever. Thank you.